Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Chatter Squadron, your weekly dose of Star Wars fun and positivity. My name is Tyler Buck.
And my name is Logan Hansaker. What is up, you rebel scum?
We have a lot of things up today because this episode was a doozy of an episode. I never thought I would see so much wood products in Star Wars. Everything is metal, everything is a hologram, but we're seeing a lot of toothpicks now.
Yeah, we're bringing the wood back.
Yeah.
Taking it back.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say it like that. But what we're doing today is we are covering the latest episode of The Bad Batch. So if you haven't watched it yet, guess what? Spoilers galore coming up here. But Logan, first, tell them how they can win the art that's right behind us.
The art that's right behind us, which is titled The Gift by artist Al Abazia from Acme Archives Direct. And you can win that little baby by commenting on any of our streams through the month of June.
Yeah, and speaking of through the month of June, we are going to be taking a break in July. And so next week's episode is our last one until August. And a big reason for that is I will be moving. And also it is my birthday, as well as like pretty much everybody I know's, except for you, birthday month. So it's going to be pretty crazy, but we will be back in August. So just be aware of that. But we have a little special something coming for our patrons soon here, so maybe they can get excited for some exclusive content. But before they get to see that, they get a shout out. So shout out to Commodore Marroquin, Commodore Rayside,
Commodore Benty,
Commodore Mellish. Here we go. Mellish. And then also we are hosting an event in Ohio at Superscripts Games and Comics for their free comic book day and 1 year anniversary, which is pretty interesting because their 1 year anniversary is on my birthday, July 3rd. But
they're just for you.
But they're doing this event in August, August 13th. That is a Friday. Hopefully it's not too unlucky. So feel free to check us out. We're probably going to be streaming there. And if you want to see us live in person, you can make your way over to Superscript in Lakewood, Ohio. Logan, do you want to tell them about another cool piece of art that we were able to see this week?
Yes, this was from when we did our crossover episode. Mm-hmm. We had someone make amazing fan art. And I know Ty's going to probably bring it up on the screen here.
Yes.
But it's super cool. It was about a theory that we were kind of discussing about the show, which since we've said that, I've realized how popular those theories have become. I've kind of seen them thrown around everywhere.
Yeah, even our biggest fans, Star Wars Explained, made a video about it.
Our biggest fans. But yeah, so we were kind of tossing around that, and someone made a piece of art depicting what we were kind of describing. It is super cool.
Yeah, what we were describing is the fact that what if Omega has a inhibitor chip and she's not telling anybody?
Right.
And Logan even said, well, I said the line of, hey, wouldn't it be creepy if she was like, good soldiers follow orders?
Right.
And then Logan said her doing that and pulling back her bow.
Right.
And then we got to see this on Twitter as somebody who listened to that crossover episode. And what an honor and what a surreal thing to have something you say offhandedly become such an amazing piece of art.
Yeah. And like you said, it does feel truly like an honor that we were discussing something just offhanded. Mm-hmm. And that, then after that, we have this awesome piece of art, which is super cool.
Right. So we have her tag up on the screen, but it's the Chatter Squadron way that we say people's names incorrectly.
Yes.
And too much honor has been given to us, so we're not going to dishonor her by saying her name incorrectly. So go ahead and check her out.
She deserves better than the Chatter Squadron norm of butchering people's names. We will not do that to you.
Exactly. So now it's time for a big ol' spoiler warning. So if you haven't seen the episode, please, please, please run for the hills at this point. But if you have seen the episode, get excited with us to talk about it, like Chad Benty here saying it was such a great episode. It really, really was a great episode.
Yes.
And I literally just finished watching it maybe an hour or so ago. And, there's a specific person who steps onto screen that we keep talking about how this feels like season 8 of Clone Wars.
Yeah.
That's basically, it's cemented itself.
It's
right
confirming
now.
it all.
Yeah.
And I know, I guess I don't know when we want to get into it or spoil everything right now, but that character I remember you were talking about was one of your favorites. From one of our like season 1 episodes,
as well as one of our patrons, Rick Villanueva, who I hate, but it's one of his favorite people in all of Star Wars. So big shout out to Rick there. Okay, that's enough of a spoiler warning. We're going to be getting into this. Logan, I hate to put you on the spot. Would you like to read the episode summary?
Of course.
Kind of getting people in there, and then we'll kind of break down beat by beat.
The Scrapper Guild informs the Empire of the Bad Batch's location, and Crosshair is sent to kill them. Concerned that Omega will not be returned safely, Lama Su hires a second bounty hunter to retrieve the girl. Crosshair cuts the Bad Batch off from their ship, so they attempt to escape through the cruiser's ion engine. Great idea. Crosshair pins them inside and has the engine turned on, but they use explosives salvaged from the cruiser's armory to escape. Crosshair is injured by the engine's ignition. Hunter and Omega are confronted by bounty hunter Cad Bane. What? Who shoots Hunter in the chest and kidnaps Omega. The rest of the group catch up, carry the injured Hunter onto the ship, and escape.
Well, that was our review of Bad Batch episode 8. Thank you guys so much.
That was it.
That was it. So, because of us doing the show and doing it the same day it has to, that the episode comes out and everything, I don't get to see the episode until right before we watch it.
Right.
However, I still have to make stuff for the episode of Chatter Squadron, the descriptions, and put together some notes and the thumbnail and everything.
Right.
So I knew about this from reading that summary. And even the summary had me going like, oh boy,
Yeah.
like I was already like, goodness gracious, this is a lot.
Well, and even that, I feel like it makes you, in a way, it does spoil it too, but it makes you just more excited to like see it on screen. I forget what episode that was where you were like, I read about this, but now I'm wanting to see if it actually happened. Like you almost didn't trust it.
It was Wrecker's chip going off and everything, and it was like, wait a second, how's this going to happen? What's going to go on? Like,
right.
Yeah. So you're always kind of a little bit on edge about it, but let's jump into the episode. We go in. One of the first things we see is a group of jerks led by the biggest jerk, Crosshair.
Yes.
On Camino, and they say, "Hey, I found the Bad Batch." Yeah.
Hey.
And the only problem is they look too cool. Their armor is too cool that I can't hate them completely like I think I should.
That's why they get along so well with the Scrappers.
Oh, that's true.
They just
listen. Nobody has anything on the Scrappers. The Scrappers are far too cool for this series.
And that's we'll get to it later.
But yeah, so he brings up the hologram saying like, "Here's Hunter. There's a little girl. There's an old lady. I'd be going after her too." Yeah. Like he seems pretty bloodthirsty.
He wants
Crosshair.
to take the weak ones.
He does. Even later when they have the standoff, he's like, "Shoot the girl." It's like, what's up with Crosshair and shooting the weakest first?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's definitely a method.
Sure, it's a tactic.
Yeah.
I don't know what tactic it is, but it's a tactic.
It works. It works.
If you were going to take down a building, wouldn't you try and take down the biggest support beams first, or just
the weakest support? The most childlike support beam.
the most like youngest support beam, or the oldest support beam?
That's, like I said, that's actually not a bad.
Now I'm starting to know. Maybe that old lady had a vibroblade under her sleeve.
Right
to the throat. If she went unchecked,
she was a threat. I saw
it. So Wrecker showing Omega in the scrap fields how to turn off a bomb. Once again, Wrecker, I don't know why they have Omega spend so much time with Wrecker, because he is kind of dangerous. Like I feel like if Wrecker tripped and landed on Omega, she would just be flattened.
Yeah, he's got to watch his step.
Now they're using explosives together.
Well,
is that something you would do?
Kind of. Well, it was smoke.
But I mean, you get what I'm saying. It's still technically an explosive.
I'm with it. He's got to train her. Like I'm with all the training that Omega can get.
Okay.
I am down for that. And that's what I was going to say too, is like people peg Hunter as the kind of father figure of the Bad Batch. And
Yeah.
I feel like Wrecker's actually doing a pretty good job of stepping into that role as well.
Wrecker is definitely the uncle figure
Yes.
in her life.
All the fun,
Yeah, exactly.
teaching the life lessons, and then
Exactly.
Hunter's in to make the smart decisions of, bringing the child along on every single mission. That
Yeah,
they go
exactly.
on.
See,
Yeah.
those big decisions of life and death is
need
on Hunter's hands.
Yeah.
And the team really isn't staying low in this scrap field in terms of their profile. Like, even if they were trying to hide, they still have people wait right out in the open setting off smoke bombs.
Right. That's definitely gonna...
And they didn't think that someone would be watching them.
Well, like a smoke signal, I mean, that's like a real distress thing.
That's
Like,
true.
that is going to draw people's attention to you.
That's true. Back in the day, I used to think smoke signals were like they were in cartoons. Like, if you were able to like form smoke well enough, you can make like letters.
Oh,
You get what I mean? Like in cartoons back in the day, you would send smoke signals and it would be like, you're going the wrong way. You know what I mean?
They're not necessarily smoke signals. You're giving them smoke directions.
Yes.
Over here, turn right and 300 feet.
Smoke texts.
Yeah, that's good. I guess if you really studied up on making your, I don't know, what would that be? Smoke bending?
So now we're jumping franchises big time here.
Yeah. It's all connected.
So the scrappers do find them, and they've already yelled at them, or yelled at the Empire, saying that there's deserters here. But when it comes to this scene where they finally confront the scrappers, the animation was amazing for this scene.
Oh, the chase.
The chase.
Yeah.
I wanted to call it a chase, but at the same time, they weren't really being chased.
No,
they were kind of getting away from the Bad Batch. But yeah, the chase scene, basically.
they weren't being chased. And that brings up another point. If someone's driving a speeder and you stun them, you have killed them. There's no point in using a stun.
Yeah, you're talking about they're driving that speeder and get stunned, and that guy like gets yeeted over the cliff.
Like, crashes into a rock, gets launched from the speeder. It's like, just shoot him. Like, I feel like that's honestly a worse death.
I think
just shooting.
I think what they tried to do with it too was have Wrecker coming back with a body of someone and putting him. I think they were trying to imply that was that guy,
right?
But that guy is not alive.
No, he's dead. Now they're just collecting real bodies.
Now they're just collecting. They're putting dead bodies on unconscious people's bodies.
Right.
Like, that's just messed up at this point.
Seems like they're getting along a little more with Crosshair. They're lining up a little bit.
No, or are we seeing kind of where Crosshair's like triggers lie?
Right.
Where it's like, even when he was good, the Bad Batch is kind of a little, shaky,
a little sinister.
Yeah,
a little dark.
So Hunter, they have this whole conversation like that we need to get out of here, and Hunter is like, nah, I think we should stay because we can get money. And something that I kind of noticed about clones, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but clones probably didn't need any money. They probably don't have any reason to have money or anything like that.
Everything's taken care of.
And we are now seeing on screen a clone learn about money and get obsessed with it so much to make these awful decisions. Like, no. If we stay here and gather these things, we would get so much money out of it. And It's like, yeah, but we are going to die?
Yeah, it's dangerous.
Dangerous.
He's like, yeah, but guys, I don't know if you heard about this money thing.
Yeah.
Omega, it's a little bit like dirt. You're going to love it.
You're going to love it. I don't know what money's made out of. Maybe dirt.
Next episode, he's just going to be like a Mr. Krabs type of character.
Or Hunter is going to be that guy that that's like way too into cryptocurrency. Like, imagine the amount of cryptos in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
There's got to be endless amounts of them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
He's just, every time you have a free, credit, he's like, you got to put that in crypto.
Yeah, you got to get that on Lothcoin.
It's like, what? Let me keep it for a second. We don't know how that's going to do. It's pretty volatile.
Right. Well, I don't know. And I think we're going to see not too much of that continue because of what happens to Hunter later on in the episode.
Yeah.
It seems like maybe his priorities are going to change because of him having this conversation with, I believe, Echo. And I'm on board with Echo. I'm on board with Echo saying, like, if we just went with Rex, we wouldn't have had to deal with this.
Right.
And I agree. They should have just went with Rex, but then Hunter's like, he's on a different path now, which is a very like Jedi woo-woo thing to say.
Right. But it's like, what path are they going for?
Money.
Just money? Bounty hunter?
Yeah, money.
Yeah. who knows? They're on a different path, you know? That's just
Yeah.
how you sum it up.
You know, we're on a different path right now.
He's on a different path. We're on a different path. There's paths. It's like I don't want to twist your ear.
I don't really want to like get too crazy with it, but you know, paths.
I could bend your ear. I could twist your ear all day about paths.
Speaking of
Lothcoin, though.
Speaking of bending, Bradley Mellish said Logan the smoke bender.
The smoke bender.
See?
That sounds great.
That is great. I think he's implying that you can do that.
I will try.
Is that something we can do in the post show? Maybe.
Every time I'm sitting around a campfire, the smoke decides to just like go right in my eyeballs. So if I could smoke bend, I would definitely use it there.
Almost like goggles around your eyes.
Yeah. And that's all. Could you imagine? Like I have this awesome power. Is it awesome? Is smoke bending an awesome power? Did I speak too soon?
I don't know. You could definitely make letters. If you can control smoke, you could definitely make letters.
I would corner the market on people being like shipwrecked on islands, you know, as a smoke bender.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, come get me. I'm not going to save you, but I will bend some smoke so you can make your own sign and get out of here.
Right. It's like, well, how did you get here?
Oh, I took a plane.
So once you purchase, I know you don't have any money, but when you get back, you're gonna have to purchase my 5-step program.
Yeah, and
once
you
purchase that, you too could be a
bender.
smoke bender and get off of this island
without my help.
All right, let's get off of this joke and start talking about tech. You brought this up too. That Tech is very confident about things he definitely just shouldn't be confident about.
Yeah, he's definitely really confident in his own knowledge and ability, and that's not so much of a criticism because I think it's actually very realistic. He's extremely intelligent, and I feel like he's so used to being probably the smartest guy in the room that he is probably used to just like, okay, if I have a thought, it's probably right. And not in like a cocky way, but just in like he's probably used to, they have to make snap decisions. I mean, we saw it this whole episode of like, what do? We got to break this off. We got to put, you know, detonators around here that they're always making. So he is used to just like, this is what I think and it's right. And then it's like, probably not.
Well, especially when most people were, you know, the clones. They're all basically the same.
Right.
And if you're at least slightly smarter clone, everyone's on the same base level.
Right.
And then you're just a bit smarter than they are. And it's like, this guy's a genius.
Yeah. And so that's what I mean. He's probably like, what was it? It was the blinking. Oh, that's probably a malfunction. You know, that's supposed to alert you when ships are coming.
Right.
That's probably a malfunction.
That's probably a malfunction.
Well, let's look into it.
Wasn't most of the crew just a little bit ago being like, we need to get out of here?
Right. Right.
Oh, this is the thing that to text when ships are coming, say like, you know, if someone was alerted that we were here and they'd be coming to kill us, but it's probably just a malfunction.
And that even like the probability that it's a malfunction is low. But again, I like that he's confident in himself. Right.
So then we get that I think that's exactly where we're at right now is the whole well, no. Before that, I was about to say Crosshair coming, but with we go back to Camino and we have Nala Say and other guy in their spoon chairs.
Yes.
And they talk about getting Omega back. They need another bounty hunter and they call Omega their contingency plan.
Yes.
What do you think that's all about?
Contingency plan?
Yeah.
I think it's similar to what we were kind of throwing around the past couple weeks. I really do think Omega is like I think it was Chris on last episode was saying it, kind of like the you know, there's Rex. I believe it was Rex being the kind of the first one or one of the first ones, and then Omega. I think she was created to kind of bring in this next, I don't want to say batch, that seems this next, you know what I mean?
The next batch.
But yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? Like the next wave of clones. And then that gets into the whole inhibitor chip thing, which is actually kind of cool. Would they have put her inhibitor chip? Would they have not? That's a whole nother thing.
Well, yeah. And that was something like even in the Star Wars Explained video that I watched, in I think one of the like summaries or something of that episode, it was saying that when Omega talked about not having a chip, they used the verbiage that Omega claims to not have a chip.
Right.
Once again, very strange, the wording, and they are being purposely ambiguous.
Right.
This can be, and I'm going to say this for everybody, this can be a massive red herring. This could not be going anywhere.
Right.
And I don't want people to get their hopes up that something crazy is going to happen and that something crazy might look a little bit like this. But I just want people to understand that there is a good chance that those theories and everything can just kind of fall through the cracks in a way, if that makes sense. In the, you know, like everything with Snoke,
Right.
or everything with Luke, what he was going to do in the sequels.
Right.
And like, you know, there's always like this big grandiose thing that gets some traction. And then when people don't see that come to fruition on the screen, then it's bad.
Right.
And it's like, well, is it bad or is it not what you expected?
Or is it exactly what the writers wanted? You know, that's the
Exactly.
thing with a red herring like that. Like you said, if you're throwing out these false clues, they want you to speculate. They want you to get your hopes up. They want you to think only so they can kind of misdirect you. But that's all their goal. You know what I mean? It doesn't, I guess I know what you're saying. Some people, if it's not what you expected, it is bad. But, you know.
We finally have Crosshair back, everybody. Crosshair is back and he has a toothpick.
Yep.
And
you
he
guessed
throws it. Tough luck, Buck. I'm going to kill my brothers.
I'm going to hunt down all my old clone brothers.
I wonder if that chip has gotten him off of his drug addiction, like we talked about before.
Right.
That he has a death stick addiction or something like that.
I think if anything, it's probably only made it worse. You know what I mean? Also, he did the old toothpick and then the helmet on.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a smart choice, Crosshair, especially what happens next. Because you imagine if he had that toothpick in his mouth in the helmet.
Done. He would, that toothpick went into his spinal cord. But I'm just wondering where he gets all these toothpicks from.
That's what exactly. Yeah. It's like, you know, I want to see that scene. I want to see the budget meeting between him and Tarkin or the what, like in a restaurant where you're putting in orders for, you know, supplies.
Yeah.
I want to see that where they're going through the checklist of supplies that they need.
Yeah, they're ordering the next truck.
Yeah.
And they of course need some grenades, they need some new blasters, they need some black paint to just paint over their stormtrooper things. Of course, we're going to need a whole crate of toothpicks. We're definitely going to need plasma. What's that?
Did you see the toothpicks?
Yeah. I need a big crate of toothpicks, but also we're going to need new plasma canisters.
Okay, is that like weaponry? Like we're going to use the toothpicks, like we're going to fire them somewhere? Because that's actually...
No, I wasn't thinking that necessarily. It's just kind of my thing. You know, and I'm starting to run out. And I know a lot of stuff has changed from the changeover from the Republic to the Empire.
Right.
I was hoping we could keep the whole toothpick thing because they got me buckets of them back in the day.
The only thing is it's, you know, wood prices.
That's true.
Skyrocketing
It is the
right
future.
now.
It is the future.
I mean, if it's expensive now,
yeah,
imagine.
I know it's going to be like Loth coin. What if we do use them as weaponry?
What if you reuse the toothpicks?
So I have to go back and pick them up.
Right. He just goes.
Tough luck, Buck. I'm going to kill my brothers. And then
Where
they
was I
walk
when I
forward,
threw-
and then he just kind of backtracks and picks it back up and puts it in his little toothpick
just like,
pouch.
They're over there. Bends it down like.
Oh my gosh! Everybody, look! That's like a scrap hawk.
It's like
picks up the tooth.
He's doing the sound effects. Like, whoa!
I'm gonna put that in my bird book for sure. It's rare, I'm telling you. Yeah, so here we go. We get the final, not the final. We finally get the standoff between Crosshair and everybody else. And like we said earlier, he said shoot Omega first.
Yeah. And that's what I kept reminding myself too, what we talked about. I believe it was last episode. I want to say 100% that they're conscious during that. You know, Wrecker
they
was
know what
conscious.
they're doing. Yeah.
That makes it extremely much more sad, I think, for Crosshair that he's doing, especially with the lines like, you know, hey, shoot the kid or aim for the kid first.
Yeah.
Like we hear that and it's like, wow, Crosshair is being really dark. But it's like, imagine that. Like he's dark. He's the darkest one of the Bad Batch, but he's not that dark.
There's something interesting about it though, too, because it's not just like drone minded. He's just a jerk now,
right?
Like he was like,
Nice.
Look at you. I know that filtered through several words to call him.
I saw the gears start.
He's a jerk now in the sense of like, you know, he's like, oh, you know, I found you guys peeling through scrap or whatever, and he's like pathetic, and it's like, I don't know what this chip does.
It's going overboard.
It's a little overboard. You know what I mean? Does it give them a new vocabulary?
Right.
Does it infuse them with something that Darth Vader would say?
Right.
Don't choke on your aspirations, Bad Batch.
That don't bring that line up.
Well, that's
to
your
me.
favorite line ever.
Oh, that is my least favorite line.
That's
ever.
why I got you this shirt that says that.
That'd be amazing. Don't choke on your aspiration. That would be a good shirt. No, I like that too. Of like in the end, if they do, not the final end, but if they do start getting a little bit of hold on Crosshair, let's say they get a little bit of breakthrough.
Yeah.
And it's like, we understand, Omega's talking, we understand Crosshair. We get that the chip was doing, it's like, every time you said to aim for me and it's like, oh yeah, it was totally the chip.
Yeah, totally the chip. 110% the chip there.
Like, yeah, Chip was being crazy, super crazy. Like with that old woman, that was all the chip.
That was all the chip.
I did not go back after.
I didn't have a vendetta against her and her stupid face. I mean,
there's that chip again.
The chip. I mean, it still feels like it's there. That's the weird part.
Yeah, it's like I feel. Yeah,
you could totally just do that for the rest of your life as a clone.
Just blame everything on the chip.
Oh man, it just feels like it's still there. You know what I mean?
Every time you just want to be a total jerk.
And I do like their plan, which I believe is another idea with tech, is just to end it all. He's like, let's blow up the ceiling and then it'll collapse on us.
Right.
And Echo's like, that'll kill us. And he's like, I know.
But so will Crosshair.
Yeah, I know that they had an actual plan, but it's still like just funny to be like just moving ahead on it. Like, no. Like, imagine that if it would just absolutely kill them all.
Yeah.
And he's just
Omega's
like, okay, what can we? And no one's noticing they're having this powwow, the two of them.
Right. Oh yeah, the other ones aren't in on it.
No.
They just start saying, what is happening?
Nor do the soldiers that have them cornered.
Right.
I think they're just pointing guns in their general direction, being like, hey, should they be talking to themselves in like hush whispers?
It kind of feels like they're devising a plan. Oh,
dang it. Well, that's how I die.
It's like, okay. Yeah, everyone dies but the Bad Batch and Crosshair.
Well, I mean, is he still a part of the Bad Batch?
In my heart, I love him. Omega.
Still?
Is that where Omega gets her first kill?
Oh, yeah. She kills a clone with the bow.
Yeah. A clone or not a clone?
Reg. Yeah, that's a question we want to put in the chat. Let us know if you think what the ratio is from clone to normal human is right now in the ranks of the Empire, because some of the people sound like clones.
Yeah.
Some definitely are not clones.
Yeah. Like they made sure to put a female voice in there.
Right.
That obviously Omega, as far as we know, is the only female clone.
Yeah.
So that would lead me to believe that it is a mixture. But yeah, what do you guys think?
Give us like a percentage wise, like it's like
decimals
it's like a 30-70 split.
Right. No, I want decimals.
I want pie charts. I want other charts that I can't think of right now.
Pie charts, other charts, graphs.
Omega does say something as well, like we talked about in the what is her whole deal with the chip, where she said that every clone has a chip.
I even made a little like fidget. I moved there. I was like, oh,
you moved?
I moved.
Get out.
I didn't move all day, except for when she said that line. And I haven't moved since.
That's true. I have to pick Logan up and put him in this chair.
It's like a Weekend at Bernie's type of deal.
Chad Benty says, I'm pretty sure only the elite troops are normal peoples. And I think that's a good idea, because I did see that there was a difference between some of the troopers with black armor, some with white armor.
That's true.
So I can get on board with that when it comes to white armor as the clones, black armor as the new elite humans.
And they're probably just phasing out the whatever clones they have left. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Once those are out, and they're going to slowly replace them with humans. But I could be wrong. I have crazy theories that are wrong all the time. like the Sarlacc from last episode. Doesn't even add up with the timeline.
No.
It doesn't.
And a whole different species. What you thought would be the monster in A New Hope, that's a Dianoga. That thing that we saw is most likely a Sarlacc. Yeah.
Well, and let's just take all that out for a second.
Okay.
It couldn't even, it wouldn't get smaller. If anything, if we saw it in the Bad Batch as a little worm thing, and then it grew to the Sarlacc in A New Hope, that would make sense. But I had it completely backwards, and it made no sense at all.
It's okay, Logan.
That's something you have to remember when I'm making theories. I am
stupid.
Well, I mean, we throw random things at the wall, and sometimes it inspires amazing artwork, and sometimes we have to come back the next week and go, good.
Whoopsies.
We got Mellish in the chat saying 30% are regular people and 65% are clones, and 5 is just Crosshair.
5%.
Wow. Is 5% Crosshair like that's talking the entire empire? He's covering a huge chunk.
I would believe that.
Really?
I would believe that, at least when it comes to like how much is getting done. He probably does 5%.
We haven't seen him in 8 episodes.
Hey man, he's tracking him down. It's like Boba Fett thing all over again. He hasn't done anything.
Oh my gosh, everyone's gonna want to put Crosshair on a backpack when
What's
he hasn't
with
done
Boba
anything.
Fett? That's my jury.
What's the deal with Boba Fett? Okay.
Jerry, I need a pickle. He just flies in the door.
Crosshair. Have you heard of Lothcoin? Oh, it's Wrecker, everybody.
What's the deal with Lothcoin? Is it a coin? All right, I'm done.
Or is it an animal? Okay, speaking of jokes, Omega said this in the episode. She was like, I've never been in an ion engine before.
Yeah.
What? Who has been?
Like, they've set the baseline at dirt. You know what I mean? They've set the baseline at dirt.
Yes.
So I would totally believe that she's never been in an ion engine before. I would believe everything that she's doing. She could say that she's never done before.
I would also believe that pretty much everybody hasn't been in an ion engine before. Because why would you be in an ion engine?
I would guess that the Bad Batch hasn't really been in too many ion engines before.
No. If we're talking like percentage wise, maybe about 5% of the people in the galaxy have been in an ion engine.
And they're all Crosshair. He knows his way around an ion engine.
Crosshair hangs out in the Empire, being the 5%. In an ion engine.
Yep, and that's where he stays.
But I'm trying to think of what the real world equivalency of that would be. Like, oh, I've never been in a garbage disposal before. You know, like what dangerous thing could I've never been inside of a jet engine before.
I was going to say like the jet engine or something of that nature is like the closest we can get. You know, like I've never been in the boiler room on a cruise ship before, you know, like that type of stuff. Like, yeah,
I've never been in a furnace in a engine of a train before.
Right.
Man, this is cool.
It's like you would be coal.
Yeah, exactly. Not many people have, unless you're made of coal. So they are in this ion engine. They're pinned down, and then they're starting up the ion engine, which is once again overkill. And the way they're going to get out is by blowing up the engine. And once again, the animation of this whole thing is outstanding.
Yep.
The ion engine coming on, the little detonations happening, it exploding, shooting fire everywhere. It was top notch.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I also thought it was pretty funny that Omega is still questioning like Crosshair's line, you know, of like what he'll do.
Yes.
It's like they're going to turn on the engine. It's like, would Crosshair do that? Like, he just told everyone to aim for you, Omega. Like, he just told him to kill you.
First,
you know,
would Crosshair really do that to us?
Yes, he would.
Yeah,
toothpick in mouth, he would do it. Smiling.
I feel like we would be the outsiders in the Bad Batch because both you and I would be there and just the entire time be like, Omega, what kind of stupid question is that? You know, Tech being like, I don't think that this is going to happen. Tech, we are in the engine right now. We're going to die.
Tech, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like,
Tech, did you not hear the whole people are trying to come and kill us? And now a ship is saying that ships are coming.
Right. Yeah. When you're on the run from anyone, let alone the Empire, and you have a beacon or something alerting you that a ship is incoming, probably not a mistake.
No,
it's probably not a malfunction. So I don't know.
Okay, they call their ship as they're trying to escape back to it the Marauder.
Yeah,
is that just because both of you and I did not think of that? Is that just something that we didn't hear, or has it always been called the Marauder?
Yeah, that's a good question, because this was definitely the first time when they said, I was like, oh, and you said it too out loud, like their ship's called the Marauder. I was like, I wrote that down too, but I also, you know, I miss a lot of things.
Right.
I'm not the good baseline.
No.
Chat's
Chat's the baseline.
Is this the first time They have said the name Marauder.
Chad and Chad are the baseline. Sorry to get you on that one.
It did sound like I said Chad.
Speaking of Chad, speaking of Cad Bane.
Oh, wow, reaching.
That's like that old the summary that Mike Calhoun and I did of the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Where we were talking about speaking of escape, speaking of capes, Lando Calrissian.
Just rhyming, just the most.
Yeah. So speaking of Chad, speaking of Cad Bane, he is back and everybody rejoices. Much to my chagrin, Rick Villanueva has a big party for himself because it's one of his favorite characters. What's up with his hat though?
Yeah,
it's got smaller.
It's a little smaller.
Isn't your hat a little bit too small to be Cad Bane's hat?
Right, and he always went for the big hats. Like even when he was stealing hats off random people, he was like, I want the
biggest hat.
Yeah, that's good.
Cad Bane, little lady. I'll get to that in 1 second. I do love seeing him and his droid back. This is what we were talking about before. We have more toothpicks. Yes. And we have more Cad Bane, and Cad Bane is just synonymous with Clone Wars for me. I just love him as a character so much.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, he's your fave.
And is his droid named Toto 360?
Yes.
Are you definitely sure about that?
100% Toto 360. I'm wondering if they brought Seth Green back for the Bad Batch to voice him, because I know he voiced him in the Clone Wars.
They better have.
I don't know why they wouldn't.
Let me tell you something. They better get him back. We get a classic Western standoff because Cad Bane is the one who was hired by the Kaminoans.
Yep.
Or the Kaminoans, however you say it.
I say it wrong.
Kaminoans. We both say Kaminoans, right?
Well, we were children.
Reading a source material book.
Yeah, like there was no pronunciations.
Kaminoans.
And yes, we can change now that we're older, but we're not going to.
No, we're not going to. What do you expect us to do? Learn and then adapt to what the world actually is?
Yeah, we're presented with different information and we're just supposed to use that and
change our behavior because we understand that we're wrong.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, so we get a classic Western standoff between Cad Bane and Hunter. And George Lucas would be very proud.
Yes.
He's such a big fan of Westerns.
Yeah.
And even the music they used for Cad Bane, too, very, very Westerny.
Immediately was super cool. I was like, okay, this is... Because I love space Westerns.
Yeah.
I absolutely do.
Well, I mean, that's basically what Star Wars is.
Well, yes.
In one way or another.
Star Wars at its core is 100% a space Western. But I even mean, like, I like seeing, like, Cad Bane. Like, I like how he looks. I like people looking like a legitimate cowboy from the olden days in space.
Yeah. Question in the chat. What did you think of episode 8 of The Bad Batch? Comment in, and then you can win the art. If you're watching anywhere else for this stream, you can jump over to our YouTube, our Twitch, or our Facebook stream version of it to give a comment. And that's the way we're able to track for the giveaway. So in this standoff, they fire. Hunter does hit something.
Yes.
He hits Toto's leg.
Toto's little leggy.
Loses one of them. And Cad Bane shoots him right in the chest.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Cad Bane, I knew going into that, I was like, don't do it, man.
Well,
Hunter, don't do it.
I loved his line of being like, I've killed a lot of clones, and once you figure out one, you figure out all of them.
Right.
And I guess he even figured out old Hunter.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even think it's about the clones. I think you'd be hard pressed to find people in the galaxy that could outdraw on Cad Bane.
Yeah, that's very true. But the best thing that he did in this whole episode is say, little lady.
Yeah. Back.
Sorry about that, little lady. And why I love that so much is that's something I say all the time. I say, especially to my cat Toph. How's it going, little lady?
Go right into the Cad
Because
Bane.
little lady. It's just like it's all with his nose.
Oh, his whole voice is with his nose.
Little lady.
And if we're talking about him, the close-ups of Cad Bane's face in this, if we're talking about the
Yeah, we
animation,
got little wrinkles now.
incredible. And like the detail in his teeth, you know what I
That's
mean? Because
true.
his teeth are very cool, very unique, especially in the Clone Wars.
I'm wondering because they're kind of sharper.
Yes.
His teeth, is that from overuse of a toothpick?
Yeah,
Is that Crosshair's future?
maybe that's what Crosshair is trying to achieve.
Ah,
He's
now
like,
his
"I want
teeth are
those."
weapons.
Yeah, he's like, I have all these guns, but my teeth aren't sharp.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just start chewing on toothpicks.
Now let me tell you something there, Crosshair.
Now we need to see a standoff between Crosshair, Cad Bane, toothpicks in the mouth.
Who can throw it in the other one's eye?
Exactly. It's not anything to do with their blasters. It's all a toothpick draw. You start down here and then
Oh, it has to go in the mouth first.
yes,
You have to
from the
pick-
mouth.
You have to get something out of your teeth.
Yes.
You have to get something out of your teeth and then throw it.
First, they have to sit down with a five course meal. So there's things in their teeth. You know what I mean? We need stuff to pick out, and also they can bond a little bit, talk about their strategies while they're eating, and
Talk
then
about their toothpick suppliers.
I mean, they have a lot in common.
That's a good point. But yeah, so we get this standoff. We get Omega getting downed. Very traumatic for Omega, who then gets stunned.
Yep.
Immediately. Luckily, Omega wasn't on a speeder, driving a speeder when she got stunned. While this was happening, Crosshair starts looking like Dengar when he gets all burnt up by the fire because he gets wrapped up like the Invisible Man. Oh yeah, he's starting to look a little bit like Vader.
He's got I just love obviously, Star Wars universe, amazing with their sound effects and their soundscapes, but that breathing, because it's different than the Vader breathing,
right?
But just that so good.
It's different than the Vader breathing, but it's like.
Are you saying Cooper?
I'm here.
They're trying to decipher messages in the breathing.
Go burn, go bird. I don't understand it. What's
go bird, go
Goldberg.
Goldberg.
He
just enters all the lights.
When they finally figure it out that it's Goldberg, then Goldberg music hits and it comes from the backstage and comes out with the sparklers and everything. That's some wrestling talk for you. So what we get next is an amazing thing. We get Hunter being revived by his crew, getting to the Marauder and flying away. But what they do is they do it from the POV of Hunter with his helmet on. And who else lost their mind when they could see that it looked like the Republic Commando screens? This guy definitely did.
I did.
There was no there wasn't even a second where I had to think about it. I saw that and it was the gun, whatever you want to call that. I don't want to say crosshair, but you get, the indicator, the target, whatever it is.
What is the name of that? That's the name.
But it was the thing in the center that just immediately clicked. I'm like, oh my God, they're doing Republic Commando, which is a video game for people that might not know. That they're slowly bringing things into canon about. So that's what a clone's HUD system looks like. It's the same. Basically, I showed you a picture of it. It looks exactly like that from the video game and then to the Bad Batch. But we also have Wrecker's gun is the same kind of gun from Republic Commando. And then, of course, Gregor.
Yep.
Who's a Republic Commando. So
he's just straight up a Republic
You can't
Commando.
get much closer than that.
Right. No, and I actually, once you said that, I was like, oh, that's incredible. But even just the way they use that shot to show the discombobulation too, you know what I mean, of him waking up was incredible.
I think this whole episode was incredible. But before we give our number ratings, let's see what people thought in the chat. We got Adam saying an unexpected surprise, but a welcome one. Bane is back, baby. And I can't agree more of how excited I am that Bane is back, baby.
Bane is back, baby. That's
Bane
a beautiful alliteration.
All right. We got Joel saying, did anyone else think the scene from Hunter's POV reminded them of Republic Commando? Well, Joel, yeah, exactly. And okay, there we go. We have Joel saying, that's what I said.
That's what I said. He said it first. Joel said it first.
Yeah, see?
He beat you to it.
Well, maybe he did. Let's look at the time codes. Let's see. Joel said this at 8:44, and I think I started my thing before 8:44, but we can take
8:43, 37 seconds.
We have Chad in the chat saying Crosshair is actually Dengar. You heard it here first, folks. That's a pretty funny a possibility. Now that feels like a you kind of a long shot.
Oh yeah, where I just throw random stuff out there and see
Exactly.
what sticks.
The Sarlacc thing in the last episode is Dengar.
Well, and two, yeah, I will. And that's the thing. Like, I do have like realer, which I don't think is a word.
No.
I'm gonna stick with it. Realer, no, more real or more serious speculations or theories.
That's
But
a
yeah,
word.
I always like to throw out the crazy ones that don't make any sense and end up making people probably a little bit angry.
So now it is time for our number ratings for episodes. And this one, yeah, I'm getting a little sticky. I'm getting a little sticky when it comes to this as well. But in the chat, let us know what your number rating is for this 1 out of 10. But
Decimals encouraged.
Decimals are encouraged. Thanks, Counter Rayside. So I am going to start us off today by saying I think I'm giving this a 9.6.
Wow.
Yeah, this is my favorite one so far.
I think it is my favorite one so far. Tyler's playing footsie with me.
What can I say? I am doing there we go.
Oh,
Our table was lightly hitting Logan's mic and I could hear it kind of echo a little bit.
I just like smacking it.
Is there an echo in here?
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway,
Right here, reporting for duty.
So what would you say your number rating?
Here's my problem. I started with these a little bit too high of ratings, I think. I think I started off, I think a couple of them should have been in the 6s and the 7s.
Me too.
And I was putting them in the 8s.
Yeah.
I would say this one is probably my favorite. I would say it is deserving of a 9,
Mhm.
but probably like a 9.1 or a 9.2.
Okay.
A low 9.
Low 9.
If I didn't start off so high, it would probably be realistically like an 8.7 or something
Yeah.
along there, because it was probably my favorite episode thus far. But it's like the midway point, correct? So I know if this is the mid, it's gonna keep trucking and it's gonna get better.
And yeah, I think the whole series is going to get very, very good. Like we mentioned in the early part of this episode, we're going to be taking a break starting next week. We have an episode next week, and then we're going to be taking a break for July. So when it comes to that, just be aware that we are still going to be watching The Bad Batch. We are still going to come back and give you guys our thoughts and everything. We also have some comics we're looking to review. We have a bunch of things on the plate, plus getting even more cultured with Culture Slate. So there's a lot of cool things that's going to be coming back in August. But we do want to keep giving people and patrons some stuff. Like we said, some exclusive content first coming to Patreon before anyone else pretty soon here. So if you want to join our Patreon, check us out on patreon.com/Chatter Squadron. $1, $5, $10. At the $10 amount, you get $10 amount. You get a shout out in every episode. So if you want to go check us out and support us there, you can definitely feel free to do that. But I will also throw it to one of our Commodores now, Chad Benty, saying, I changed my rating, 9.9, favorite episode.
Wow.
Favorite episode. And I don't blame him for that, to be completely honest. I think this episode is extremely solid.
Well, and I know I just said that it's the midway point, and I think it's going to get better.
Mm-hmm.
Not better, but you know what I mean? It's going to keep building.
No, you said better. Stick to
I did say better. But once the whole season's over, I think this is still going to be a big episode.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So that's not what I'm saying. I'm not like, oh, well, it's good for now, but then once we get more. But no, I agree. It's my favorite so far, 100%.
And we're already seeing like tone changes with it when it comes to like how the episode even ended. It ended very quietly.
Yeah.
You know, it was very solemn.
Well, they knew we would be crying. So.
Well, they knew you would be crying.
Right.
I was still very jazzed about the whole Republic Commando thing.
Cad Bane.
Cad Bane, Toothpicks. I just couldn't get enough of it.
It's like, I forgot all about Omega. Well, I guess I'm just a little worried because I'm thinking back to where in the Clone Wars, I mean, we've seen Cad Bane just take prisoners and kill them right on the spot.
Well, I would be
electrocute them.
surprised if that had something. If that
not
was
gonna do that to
if that
Omega.
was on the radar for the Kaminoans.
No, they want Omega alive.
They want her alive, and that's, I guess, the last thing we can kind of talk about here is the contingency plan. That is a very direct way. Like they have that word in their contingency plan. Those are 2 words, Tyler.
Right.
They have those words in there because of something.
Yeah.
That is made for us to go, what the heck is that supposed to mean?
Right.
Is it what I said early on in our reviews? Are they trying to make a giant clone? Is Omega's chip just going to make her become like Godzilla sized?
And they've trained her how to disarm bombs, use a laser bow. Which that laser bow, I don't think I've brought it up before, but that is one of the coolest.
It's super cool.
One of the coolest, both equally, one of the coolest weapons in the Star Wars universe, and also one of the most impractical.
Yeah.
You could just use a gun.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably much easier too.
Yeah.
Much easier on the forearms and elbows and everything.
But one of the coolest. And if I was in the universe, I would choose that weapon.
I'd probably go with
a lightsaber.
Yeah, just go full like, no, dude,
top.
I would have a lightsaber. I would be a Sith man. You know what I mean? I'd be like a Sith Lord.
Right.
Because I'm just that cool. Like I would be able to do it, man.
Everyone would be a Sith.
Everybody who thinks they would be a Sith, read all of the Darth Bane trilogy and then come back to me and tell me if you have what it takes to be a Sith.
Yeah. Do you want to train someone that's meant to kill you?
If you think you have what it takes to be a Sith, you might be a psychopath. A little bit.
If you fulfill your duties, you die. Like that's the highest level, regardless. Now we're on a tangent about Sith.
We have Joel saying Omega is essentially Kid Captain America, the ultimate super soldier, as well as saying, will Crosshair be the Red Skull?
I can see it.
Eventually, he just keeps getting burnt more and more until he just has no skin anymore.
Yeah.
His head is basically a skull already. He's like very, very thin.
like thin skulled, as in like quite literally.
Like the skin around his skull is thin.
Thinner than anyone else's?
Look at his head. It looks like a skull. It's got like a bulbous head. Like the top of his head, you can see like
he's just got short hair.
I guess that's right. I was also thinking that too with Hunter. It looks like half of his face is a skull.
Yeah.
Is that just me?
Yeah. No, that is not just you. I mean, half of Wrecker's. You say Wrecker?
Hunter.
We
need to end this episode right now. So thank you guys. Once again, check us out on patreon.com/Chatter Squadron. Be sure to come back next week for our episode before our break. And also feel free to check us out at Superscript in Ohio. Friday the 13th in August. And follow us everywhere. You can kind of see what we're doing. If we're streaming and when it's happening, that'll be in our like Instagram and Facebook stories and everything. So if you want to stay up to date, you can do it over there. Logan, is there anything else you would like to say to the people before we get the heck out of here?
There is. I would love to end with our patron shout out. I butchered it the first time around.
Okay.
And just, got to get that right. So,
all right. Shout out to Commodore Marroquin,
Commodore
Rayside,
Commodore Benty,
and Commodore Melon.